Long ago, when the evil samurai warlord was banished the first time, an era of peace and tranquility descended upon the empire for more than 300 years. The dark castles he had built were abandoned and slowly fell into ruin, and the villagers across the countryside no longer lived in fear. As the years went by, the secret of the powerful Kuji magic was hidden away in ancient shrines, and the people of the villages and towns went back to farming and going about their daily lives. Then one day, something changed. Terrible storms began to brew over the mountains on the distant horizon. Floods and earthquakes began to appear in the flatlands. Looking down from the mountain where the ninjas lived and trained, the ninja master could see that something was terribly wrong in the world. Animals were seen fleeing for their lives. Some spoke of mysterious figures hunting and caging animals for some unknown purpose. The truth was that the evil samurai warlord had returned and had started raising an army of evil minions to aid him taking over the world. He had begun using forbidden Kuji magic to twist innocent animals, transforming them into mindless samurai warriors. The warlord would send them forth to recapture his castles of old and use them as a basis for terrorizing the surrounding countryside. There was just one flaw in his plan. By using the Kuji magic in such a way, the evil samurai warlord was once again upsetting the balance of nature, bringing the wrath of the gods down upon the earth in the form of ravaging storms. The larger his armies grew, the worse the storms became. The ninja master knew none of this yet, though he knew that something must be done to get to the bottom of this mystery. It was his sworn oath to protect the balance of nature, an oath he could never allow himself to break. A decision was made. The ninja master sent his most skilled ninja on a quest to discover the source of the storms. Many suns and moons passed, and no word from the ninja returned. The master sent another of his best, but again, nothing. Again and again, he sent his ninjas forth, but again and again, not one of his agents returned. Soon, there were only 2 ninjas left, and they were the last ninjas he would have ever chosen to send on such a perilous quest. But it appeared that the fate of the world could lay in the hands of these last 2. Hero, it is good that I found you.
There is something terrible going on. I went down to speak with the village headman below the mountain to see if he knew anything of our missing ninja friends. He did not. Instead, he had strange tales to tell. He had seen samurai moving in the forest across the river, bearing a mysterious crest on their flags. The samurai were apparently hunting animals and taking them deeper into the Jadestone forest. The only thing that lies in that direction is the old castle, but that fortress has long been abandoned. So I thought. Hero, I need you to quickly finish your training. You must set out down the mountain and travel to the castle. Perhaps there you will find some answers to this riddle. To help you on your journey, the Tengu have woven you some special huts at my request. These are no ordinary things. They have been made of a special weave which can turn an arrow, among other things. Hurry to the dojo and speak with Zen. He will complete your training. When you are finished, I will be waiting for you at the main gate of the village. Young hero. He had walked to Ninja Mountain by himself. In his eyes, I saw what I had not seen for 1,000 years. The powers to control.
As Matsuo Basho said, do not seek to follow in the footsteps of others. Instead, seek what they sought. This is about knowing not what others have done. This is about not chasing somebody or replicating somebody or imitating somebody. This is about figuring out what you want. What do you want? And then really growing to understand that, really beginning to form your own opinion. And it doesn't mean that you don't listen to other people. It doesn't mean that you don't sit at somebody's feet and learn from them. It simply means that the goal is not imitation. The goal is understanding. And when you go into learning something, knowing that that thing has utility, that when you get that skill, when you really understand that thing, what it's doing is giving you a brick that you're going to be able to build something with. But remember, the goal is the building. The goal is to create something that didn't exist before. And the only way to do that is to actually understand what you're doing. Mimicking the motions of somebody else will not allow you to create something that has never been before. It will not allow you to bring something into the world that has never before been seen. It will only allow you to replicate. And your goal in life isn't to be a copy machine. Your goal in life is to express yourself, to create things that only you can create, that your mind in this time period with all the unique things that you've encountered, that you've learned, the connections that you've made, the way that you bring things together, that's never ever going to exist again. It's all you uniquely. That's your job in this life, is to build something from that place. But to do that, you actually have to understand what it is that you want. And as Erwin McManus said, there are few things more powerful than a life lived with passionate clarity. But that clarity only comes when you understand. It only comes when you take your time learning to really grasp the concept, to not read a book, to tell someone that you've read it, to not complete a task, to check it off a list. The goal is to actually understand how to use that thing. Knowledge isn't power. Used knowledge is power. Putting that to use to actually do something. Understanding it well enough to create from that thing. That's the end goal. So don't worry about what other people think. Don't worry about what other books other people have read. Don't worry if you ever make it to the last page of anything. Simply ask yourself, do I understand what I need to understand to build the life I want to build, to bring to this world the things that I want to bring? However counterintuitive, however weird, it doesn't matter. If it's a moment of beauty for you and you understand how to build it, build it. That's the greatest joy you're ever going to experience in life, is being truly and uniquely yourself. As JBS Haldane said, the world shall perish not for a lack of wonders, but for a lack of wonder. Everything around you is incredible if you're willing to look at it that way. Everything around you can be taken for granted if that's your perspective. But it really is about the frame that you choose to put around things. I mean, simply being alive is already insane. The odds are so stacked against you, not only just being a human, but being a human at this moment in time. This moment in time where breakthroughs in technology are happening at an unprecedented rate, where breakthroughs in medical science are happening at an unprecedented rate, where our ability to connect with people, to empathize with people all the way around the globe, all of the changes that have happened in technology and telecom and connectivity, health, everything. We're living in the most miraculous time ever. But you have to look at it that way. And as Joseph Campbell said, life is a wonderful, wonderful opera, except that it hurts. So the question is, do you see it as the beautiful opera? Or do you just pay attention to the pain? And at the end of the day, you're gonna get what you focus on. They're both true. This is both the most amazing time that's ever happened, ever in recorded history. And yet real things that are terrifying are also happening. But where you put your energy, where you put your attention, where you put your focus is going to determine what you see. And that is the most fascinating and the most important thing you have to understand about the way that your mind works. You get what you focus on. If you focus on the things that are bad, they will become real. They will become exaggerated. They will begin to monopolize your thoughts. You'll see them everywhere. It's called the reticular activating system. Your mind is literally designed to pay attention to the things that you notice. Once you notice a certain car, you see it everywhere. Once you notice a certain dog, you see it everywhere. Once you hear a certain name for the first time, suddenly you realize that that name has been all around you this entire time. But now that you're focusing on it, now that you're looking for it, it is everywhere. So whatever you look for, it's going to be everywhere. If you look for the negative, it'll be there. But if you look for the positive, it will overwhelm you. And as Joseph Campbell said, people say what we're all seeking is a meaning for life, but I don't think that's what we're really seeking. I think what we're seeking is the experience of truly being alive. And that's it. That's the juice. Figuring out that thing that makes you come alive. It isn't keeping up with the Joneses. It isn't how much you're getting paid. It isn't anything other than for you. Something very specific. It will be different for everyone, but for you. Find that thing that makes you come alive. Focus on it. Think about it. Put your time and attention there. Shift away from seeing the pain in the opera and instead seeing the wonderment in it all. Seeing the glory that is just everything around you, the opportunities, the fact that you're alive. Once you can see that those basic things that you take for granted, that you can breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, all of that stuff, once you start seeing how miraculous it really is, once you start seeing how we're connected to each other, once you understand that the name of the game isn't wealth, it isn't fame, it isn't ambition or success, it's neurochemistry. It's feeling a certain way. It's finding fulfillment in your life. Once you realize that, you'll understand this is a game of attention. And you entirely control what you focus on. So choose very wisely, my friends, because your life will literally become the summation of the things that you look at.
Mel, how do I manage emotions effectively so they don't blow up and hurt the people I love the most? Melan, maybe it's just people that have the name Mel, but I hear you, sister. I get triggered all the time by my emotions. And here's how you deal with them. In fact, the place that I get the most triggered is getting frustrated with my kids. And I don't want to be that kind of mom. I don't want to be the kind of mom that's constantly frazzled, that's snapping at my kids, that resents my husband. I really want to have the best of me reserved for my family. But isn't it the truth that often it's the people that we love the most that we end up trashing on?
Okay, whew. I'm seriously winded. So I have a question for you. What's your next chapter? I'm dead serious. What is the next chapter of your life?
Everybody, welcome to another episode of AMA Live. I'm your host, Tom Bilyeu, and I'm here to answer your questions. So let's submit those bad boys. Today's episode, by the way, is brought to you by Everything Is My Fault. And we've dropped the link in there. So if you want to go to shop.impacttheory.com right now and get yours, you can do that. Self-signal your way to greatness. All right, without further ado, let us dive into the very first question. This one comes from Louis Christine Imbing. This is from the Connect inbox. Do you follow any morning routine? If so, what does your morning routine look like? And what is your thought process behind doing each of these actions? Okay, here it goes. First of all, your morning routine starts the night before, so go to bed early. Now, I used to say that like a religion, I was in bed by 9 p.m., but now my schedule has gotten a little out of whack. We've got a new piece of content called Real Impact, by the way, for anybody that's into film and TV and the mindset that you can glean from that. You can go to youtube.com/Impact Theory Studios and check that out. But that routinely now has me seeing movies at far past my bedtime. But I try to go to bed as close to 9 as humanly possible every night, save for the weekends. And in that, I sleep without an alarm, so I wake up when I wake up. The reason that I do that is because I want to get as much sleep as I need. So I'm all about cognitive optimization. So I'm not somebody who sets the alarm to make sure that I'm up at 4 in the morning, but when I wake up at 4 in the morning, I'm a very happy camper. I usually get, it used to be between 5 and 6. I'm now getting between 7 and 8. I have no idea why. It changed completely randomly and as far as I can tell without reason. But I wake up when I wake up. I give myself 10 minutes to get out of bed. And I do that because I'm lazy and my inclination is to lay in bed. So I need a bright line that says I get out of bed immediately without wasting time. So I'm out of bed in 10 minutes or less. I put my gym clothes next to my bed so that the easiest answer is to put my gym clothes on. In fact, I'd have to make a conscious choice not to, which thusly would trigger in me a lot of conflict emotionally because it is my identity to immediately go to the gym to work out again, partly for cognitive optimization and then also for longevity, for health and for aesthetics. But working out, I think, is incredibly important. And I actually think that for anybody that wants to achieve something extraordinary in their life, that the third thing that you need to focus on is mindset. The first two are diet and exercise, followed by mindset. So I hit the gym first and foremost. Immediately after the gym, I meditate. And the reason that I do that is because I want to practice going from the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, which you're triggering in the gym through the heavy exertion. Your heart rate is up, your breathing is shallow and rapid. And the idea is to very quickly switch over into the parasympathetic nervous system where you're getting into rest and digest, where you're calming all of that down. You're slowing your breath, your diaphragm breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and really calming everything down. And I think practicing that transition is very important. And so that's why I do them back to back. But then on top of that, just meditating for any reason I think is really important. And doing that gets you into a calm and creative state, which is where all of your anxiety, all of your stress is dropped down to zero. And I also think that we think on multiple levels. You've got the thinking that is truly you hear the voice and the words articulated in your mind, but you also have below that where you have the notion without the actual words. And then I think either below that or beside that, you also have just sort of an emotional level of thinking where you're feeling whatever is going on. And I think that you want to quiet all of those down so that you can truly get into that calm, creative state. And I really feel the difference in my brain, which is why I think that meditating is insanely important. And I think much like fasting, it's really where you want to not be taxing your metabolic processes. And it's not that I think, there are a lot of studies out there that show that doing that increases the efficiency of your mitochondria and a whole host of other benefits, including insulin sensitivity and on and on. I think that there's a very similar effect that happens when you meditate, where you're literally fasting from thought, or at least you're trying to get out of thought and into that calm, creative space for as much of the time that you're meditating as possible. You're going to find that your mind wanders. It's just what the mind does, but you really can quiet it down. And I think in quieting it down, there is some effect. I don't know what the actual neurological effect is, but the effects of that, what you feel is a deep sense of calm, relaxation, and it's incredibly powerful for then having your most potent ideas and biggest breakthroughs. After I do that, then I do what I call thinkitating, which is leveraging that state to then process through in a very conscious way all of the things that I'm dealing with in my business or my life. And I won't go into too much detail on thinkitating, but basically allow yourself to actually think, where in meditation you're trying not to. And then after that, I read, which I think is incredibly important. I think you should always be learning. I think that's really, really important to having great ideas, to solving problems, whatever it is, to getting better. You need to just always, always, always be learning. And then after that, I have a list called Important Things, and I go through my important things list. And that is literally just a list of the most important things I could be doing for my business. And the reason that I keep a list is because I don't ever want to waste time in a transitional moment trying to think of what I should be doing or focusing on. I want that list. Also, studies have shown that journaling before you go to bed, simply by listing the things you need to do, allows you to sleep. And so this may be one of the reasons that I have such an easy time falling asleep, is I know everything that I should be working on, everything that I've thought about is not only written down, it's in priority order. And so there isn't a cycle of my brain like remember, which I think is part of what keeps people awake. So there you have it. That's my morning routine. After that, then I get ready, and I often read, by the way, because I do Audible books while I'm getting ready. I read through making my first meal, which comes after all of that. And there you have it. That's my morning routine and my thinking behind it. All right, next question is from Daniel Breeze. Hi, Tom. I go to bed at 9. My man. Alarm at 5:30. Shame on you. It's still not enough sleep. Get more. I want to wake up without the alarm. Any tips on how to feel rested with less sleep? I have absolutely no tips on how to feel rested with less sleep. My only tip is how to feel rested, which is to get as much sleep as you need. Now, while it's really annoying to me that right now I'm sleeping 7 and 8 hours versus my normal 5 and 6, it is what I have to do to be cognitively optimized, and therefore I do it. I won't say that I don't complain, as you hear me doing right now, but I think that the priority remains being cognitively optimized, not being tired. I think being tired is a unique form of torture that I absolutely despise, and to get the most out of my day, to make the most of whatever hours I'm awake, I would rather be super sharp and well rested than try to wake up really early, be tired, be slow, be miserable, and quite frankly, not have the ideas coming from my subconscious, which I find is slowed or even muted if I'm too tired. So while there are rare occasions where I will set an alarm, I wake up to an alarm certainly less than 10 times a year. So a year. So if you can do what I've done without setting alarm more than 10 times, then I just truly, truly go to bed early, sleep as much as you need. Now, what you're probably going to find is in the first couple of months, you're going to sleep a lot. You might be sleeping 8 to 10 hours because you've been so sleep deprived. But sleep is just incredibly, incredibly important. I read a study. This is so fascinating. Your brain reduces in size. So think of it as inflammation, and then reducing that inflammation, not actually growing and shrinking, but it reduces in size, which allows it to flush out. I'm going to use the word toxin. I hate that word, but it allows it to flush the system clear of things that it wants to get out of the brain. And the only way that it can do that is by reducing that inflammation, which it only does when you sleep. So that's but one of the many things that they're beginning to uncover is incredibly potent and powerful about sleep in terms of its relationship to the brain. So I just cannot stress enough, get whatever sleep you need, suck it up. If you have to start going to bed at 8 in order to make it to work on time, do it. If you have to go to bed at 7, do it. And I know people always push back, I need to unwind, all of that. No. If you're watching me, I make the assumption that what you need is to become great. It